In this video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different and bringing you a video settings guide. This will enable you to create videos on YouTube that look as good as mine, but also will help you out in other situations. For example, say you wanted to send in some clips to my Battlefield Top Plays show. Quite often I'll get clips that are sent in that are just not good enough quality to use, or the file sizes are absolutely massive, or maybe the resolution's out or it's been uploaded to the wrong place. Now this video is going to go through the best way to record your Battlefield clips and send them in, and then of course this can be used for any game and uploaded to YouTube as well. I'll go through what I use and my most effective way of recording and then editing and rendering my videos, but then I will give some other examples because maybe what I do doesn't work for you and you might need something a little bit different. So I'll also reference some very useful videos down below in the description. So the things you'll need in order to make this work, it doesn't really matter if you play on console, if you play on PC. PC is obviously a little bit easier because you need to get your clips from console onto PC if you're wanting to edit and render them, although you can do certain stuff on console and then just upload it straight to the PlayStation share system or straight onto YouTube from what I can remember. Now with PC, and of course this video will be mainly focused on PC, you need to have yourself a computer that is capable of playing the game, which most people do. It then has to be able to record the game, and I have an Nvidia graphics card, which means I can use shadowplay, but there are other options if you use an AMD graphics card. And then finally, you need to have editing software. I currently use Sony Vegas. There are many ways to get all three of the things that I've just mentioned, but I'm not going to go through that in detail in this video. As I said, YouTube's filled with guides and all sorts of other stuff if you're looking to get hold of things that I just mentioned. So starting out, what are my shadowplay settings? Well, I run a custom quality setting. I have resolution on 1440p at a 60 frames per second rate. Now, I use a 1440p monitor, so it makes sense to record in the native resolution, but if you use 1080p, you should be recording in 1080p in my opinion. Keep it simple, just record in the resolution that you play. My bitrate is set at 50 because that's the default, but I wouldn't suggest going any lower than that. You can also, on some cases, go higher. I think 50 is fine. There is absolutely no need to change it. I also make sure that I turn off any of the notification options that you get with shadowplay because they're very annoying when they come on screen. And then I also turn on desktop capture because sometimes I do play games in borderless because they run better. You never know these days with games. Sometimes they work better in full screen, sometimes in borderless. I just turn desktop capture on because this allows you to record anything that's on your screen and not just a full screen application. The only issue with this is if you stream using shadowplay, this can be a privacy issue, but I don't think too many people do use shadowplay to stream and much prefer OBS, so it's a bit of a no-brainer to put this on in my opinion. A quick little tip here for anyone that's using shadowplay and their game isn't recording properly, or at least maybe it's lagging or the audio's out. If you're running Battlefield in full screen and trying to record, you need to turn that on. That privacy control thing on, it tends to work better. If that still doesn't work, you can try playing the game in windowed borderless and doing the same. I've had to flick between the two to try and get my game to work, but eventually I found that this was the best way to do it, and I've had really no problems using shadowplay since. Now there are many other ways to record your game footage. You could be using OBS, you could be using Mirrorless Action, you could be using, I think it's called Play TV, other things like this. There's absolutely loads of software out there. Shadowplay is the most straightforward if you have an Nvidia graphics card, and OBS tends to be the one that people settle for and all the streamers use as well if you're looking to stream. Now I'm not going to go through OBS, I've been through it in previous videos, but there are many people who are far more up to date than me, and I've linked down in the description the Frugal Streamer, definitely worth checking out if you're interested in streaming, and then a couple of other guides that I think really do hit the nail on the head. The key thing with OBS, and I'll mention this now before you watch any of these videos, is always try and keep the settings quite modest. Never try and push it too far. Many people will think, oh, my PC's good, he says put it at this bit rate, I'm just going to push it a little bit higher. Never do that, because that's when the problems start to come. What you want is to get a solid base where you're recording things at a decent quality, decent frame rate, and nice bit rate. That's all you want, just everything working smoothly, because the thing is with videos on YouTube, most of the work comes in when you actually render the video out. That's when you can make a lot of the footage look crisper and sharper. So I wouldn't really worry too much about getting the absolute end product from OBS unless you're uploading the raw file, which I know some people do, but most people like to edit it first. One of the bonuses with OBS as well is you can split your audio. So if you're recording an entire play session, you can split your desktop audio, you can split that from your mic audio and your Discord or TS audio, which is really nice because that means you can have 3 separate tracks and cut that around however you want, making sure that you can cut out anybody saying something you didn't like, or if you've got an epic moment, you can just completely turn off all voice comms. I also split my audio using shadowplay, and that means I only get in-game sound. This is really important if you're recording gameplay and you don't want to have anybody else in the recording, just the game audio on its own. The way you do this is you turn your microphone off first of all in shadowplay. That's the most important thing, so you can't be heard when you're breathing into your microphone concentrating on the game. Secondly, you want to install something like Voicemeeter Banana. This allows you to split the audio and use these virtual audio cables. Again, this is about a 10-minute tutorial, so I'm going to link this in the description below. I have done a tutorial on it in the past years ago, but to keep it nice and simple, I'll give you a 1-minute quick tutorial now, and then I'll let you go down in the description for something more detailed. So now you can see my desktop, and this is my sound settings on the left-hand side, and then Voicemeeter Banana, and this is the sort of Voicemeeter that you want. There are 3 of them, I think. There's Voicemeeter Pro, Voicemeeter Banana, and Voicemeeter Potato. I believe you want this one. You can see it's got the hardware inputs on the left, 3 of them, and then you've got your virtual inputs here and everything else on the right hand side. You want to copy exactly what I've got here. I've got my hardware out as my headphones, and then my hardware input here, which is the cable output VB audio virtual cable. Now, the left hand side, this is where it's tricky. You need one of them to be your default device, one of them to be your default communication device. Nothing else is chosen on this side. It's only these 2, and then obviously for recording I've got my microphone. Now if I was to go in and play a video, just got a bit of Battlefield footage here, you can see here that it's starting to play in the Voicemeeter input, and this is what shadowplay will be recording, so you'll probably hear some of this video in the background. Now the trick is here to make sure that when you are playing your game and you're checking back, that your Discord sounds are playing in one and your game is playing in the other. Now this of course means you might need to change a couple of settings in Discord as well. As I said, it can be a little bit complicated, so some comprehensive guides are linked in the description down below. For me, I just need to select my default device in Discord, and then everything works fine, and there's absolutely no problem with splitting audio. But maybe for you, you need to select something slightly differently. So as I said, check out the description for these in-depth guides, and that'll help you split your audio. Now for the bit I think a lot of people were waiting for. How do you get that quality from Sony Vegas? I'm using Sony Vegas 15, as you can see at the top here, and this is what I usually start with a project. I've got some simple channels on the left-hand side, and I drop things in, and then off I go with my video editing. So the first thing you need to do is look at your project properties. As you can tell, and as I said earlier, I play on 1440p. My projects are all in 1440p, and that's the width and height you need. You can put 1080p footage into this. This is the same project properties that I use for the top plays, and I put all sorts of rubbish into one of those projects, and it comes out looking okay. So that's what I suggest going for. The file sizes will be fairly hefty, but nothing too crazy. You can pause the video here and copy everything off this if you want to. That's what I go for with the video settings. Audio, again, keep it nice and simple, nothing too crazy here, and then the rest of it is just straightforward. That is saved, and then I save the project and I use the same template, YouTube video template, every time I make a YouTube video. So I've dropped in a piece of footage here onto the track right now. You can see it's about 15-20 seconds long, nothing too crazy. First thing, right click, switches, disable resample. The amount of people that forget to do that, and it completely ruins your footage. It doesn't matter what you do to it. If you don't disable resample, it'll be terrible. If you do use Adobe Premiere, then you won't have to do that. I believe it does it for you, but this is what you need to do on Sony Vegas. The next thing you can do, if you're after making the audio a bit louder, is just normalize it and then choose what you want to do. So the next thing is to make sure that you are rendering exactly what you want drag it over like that. Your two yellow bars are showing you what you want. You don't want to render anything that you don't want to be on the video. If you're recording a clip for me and say the whole thing is this long and you just want to record this bit of the clip, then that's what you do, and that's all that will be rendered out. If you are looking to add a couple of effects to your track, don't go overboard with this. I usually add a teeny bit of brightness, although saying that, that's probably a little bit high for this sort of a clip. Color curves you can add a little bit just to make the contrast pop a bit more, and then I drop in a bit of saturation as well, just because you tend to get a bit more washed out colors when you start uploading stuff to YouTube. Again, a bit of sharpen there, which helps it on YouTube. As I said, yellow bars, file, render as. This sometimes takes a second as it loads up all your custom templates. Now I go for Magic's AVC MP4. You then scroll down and you can see I've got some custom ones at the bottom, some for Twitter, some for different things on YouTube. I go for the 1440p 60 FPS Nvidia NVENC. You can find it on here. You can pick one of the 1080p ones and then change the resolution. That's exactly what I've done here. 2560 by 1440. Again, pause the video if you want to copy what I've got. A variable bitrate at 135, average at 50. I've tried constant bit rates. I've tried absolutely everything, but for me, this is the sweet spot right now when it comes to render time, when it comes to quality, when it comes to file size. It just works absolutely perfectly for me. The audio, again, nice and simple, no need to go overboard. And then system and project, fairly straightforward. You then save it, you type in your template, you click save, and then down here you click a start so you know exactly where it is. You then save it to whatever you want, Battlefield 5 clip, click render, and then off it goes. And as you can tell, it's not the fastest in the world, but it's certainly not slow for the quality that you're going to be getting. It's not real-time rendering. If this was in 1080p, it would be, but as it's 1440p, you do have to sacrifice a little bit of that. This means that for your average top plays video that you watch, which is, 15 minutes long, I'm probably rendering for about 40 minutes or so, which isn't too bad for what you're getting out the other end. For a clip, though, or a shorter video, this is definitely worth it. And trust me, when you're watching YouTube videos, although most people do watch on phones these days and don't watch on PC, it's always nice to know that the video you're watching is going to be a really high quality, and that's really what it comes down to on YouTube. Are you there to watch something that's a bit rubbish with bad audio, or are you there to watch a professionally put together video, which is essentially what YouTube's becoming these days? Some of the quality you see on YouTube is absolutely crazy. So this is done. Let's open up the file. As you can see, things are looking pretty good. And remember, this is a clip that has been recorded. It has then been edited, then rendered out, then put into another project so I can make this video and upload it. So it's gone through things twice and it still looks pretty crisp. Now, you can do things to make it look better, but as I said, this is the best all-rounder. And for someone that uploads 4 videos a week, and the quality is pretty good, I think that's more than acceptable. When it comes to recording my audio, and we will just take a quick look at this, I use Audacity. It is the most straightforward thing to be using. As you can tell, I got it in the background right here. Nice and easy. Plug in my microphone and off I go recording. Now, I do use a nice microphone setup. I am sponsored by Blue, as you guys know. They provide absolutely incredible microphones, studio performance, and I have the Baby Bottle SL, which, according to Blue, does a good job with somebody with a deep voice and who is recording the sort of stuff that I am. So that's not too bad. It's quite an expensive mic, but there are many others that come in at a lower price and do the job pretty much just as well. I would say that the Snowball is a good starter, and then the Yeti is what you should be looking for if you're going for maybe a little bit more of a professional sound. I've got many friends who have the Yeti and they absolutely love it. Loads of YouTubers use it. It's just the go-to. So there you have it. That's how I record my YouTube videos. If you want to have a professional setup like me, you should be doing pretty much what I do, I believe. Shadow playing or using OBS to record your footage. Audacity to record your audio, dropping it into Sony Vegas. And there you go. Nice and easy. Yes, you could be someone who uses Adobe Premiere. Go for it. It's just as good, if not better software, but I'm just used to Sony Vegas. And of course, maybe you are on console and you're having to get a capture card to get your footage off in high quality, or you're uploading it straight to YouTube. Broken Machine, a Battlefield YouTuber, is on console and his footage looks absolutely incredible. So it's possible to do. Don't worry about it. But for me, PC is just the most straightforward. And as most content creators are on PC, it was the best way to approach this video. Let me know anything that you want me to cover in the comments. I'll try and answer it, and of course leave any useful tips for anyone down there too. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.